respected Acharyaji and all the Sadhvijis, dear sisters and brothers. Good evening. We welcome you this evening. As you all know, we are discussing some very inspiring stories from Lord Mahavir's last sermons, which is compiled in Uttaradhyana Sutra. So today we are going to look at chapter number 9. The name is Nami Pravajya. So let's look at the meaning of the title Nami Pravajya. What does it mean? It means Nami is the name of the person, and he was a king, and Pravajya means that initiation. So initiation of Nami. So Nami Pravajya. That is how the chapter starts, and this it is the story of Nami Rajarsi, who is, as we talked last week, if you all remember, that there are three different ways that one can get higher knowledge. The first one we discussed last week was that Swayam Sambuddha, Kapilya, so he got this higher knowledge just by himself. Whereas today we are going to look at this Nami, King Nami, who got his higher knowledge, is called Pratyek Buddha. So they always have some nimitt, and through that nimitt, they get higher knowledge. Yes. So he is one of the. There are lots of other ones, but he is one of the Pratyek Buddha. Now, what is his nimitt? So we need to find out that. We need to go into the story. So in ancient time, there was a city called Mithila, is the capital of Videh state. So long back, there ruled a king named Padmarat. Now he had a beautiful queen named Padma Mala. Now she had no children, and she was longing for a son. Once the king had been to a forest, and there he noticed a newly born child lying under the shade of a tree. He picked him up, and bringing him to the palace, he handed over to the queen, and he became. He told her that I found this boy under the tree, and she was so happy to get this boy. So they decided to bring this boy up, and they named him as Nami. So Nami was just found in the jungle, and they brought him up. Now, the boy slowly began to grow. At the age of 6, he was sent to the school where he learned all kinds of arts and crafts. In due course, he grew up to be a strong, well-educated, obedient youth. The king was pleased with him in every respect and got him married at the appropriate time, and he became monk himself. So the king became monk. Now that he became monk, he handed over his kingdom to Nami, and Nami turned out to be a strong, capable ruler. His reign was very popular, and he became a very well-known ruler. He was looking after his kingdom so very well, and all the people respected him, loved him, and they always thought they were fortunate to be in his kingdom. So and as you can see in the picture, in his army there was a well-built tall elephant which he was very fond of, and he always used to ride on this elephant, and that is why I have chosen this picture. Yeah. And now that as he was ruling the kingdom so very well, one day Nami happened to develop a very burning sensation all over his body. Now he was in such a pain, terrible pain, And that made everybody wonder what to do. Even all the queens, and of course, in those times, as you know, they were all allowed to have more than one wife. So he had quite a few wives, and they all got really worried now what to do, because he has got this really bad sensation on his body. So they called so many doctors, and of course, in those days, they used to call Vaid. So many Vaids came and they all tried so many things, but nothing worked. And then there was this, as you can see in the picture, this Vaid is trying to feel his nerve, and from there he said that if you can rub some sandalwood paste on his body, then that might cure. Now this sandalwood paste, like this sandalwood came from boar seeds, sandalwood it's called. So it comes from a cow's head, and it is one of the very top quality sandalwood that one can get. So they, of course, for the king, they will do anything. So they found it and they started, they brought it over, but it, as you can see, all the queens are rubbing it to make the paste. So all the queens, they said, I want to do it, I want. So all the queens started making the paste for him to make him feel better. And then, because all the queens were rubbing this sandalwood on the floor, it made a lot of noise, because all the queens were wearing quite a few bangles, and you can imagine like 5-6 ladies wearing so many bangles on their hands, and then they try to rub something. It made so much noise with all those bangles, and that made him even more uncomfortable. He said, stop, this is giving me such a headache, and I cannot bear this with the pain that I already have, with this discomfort that I already have. This noise is making worse and worse, so please stop it. So all the ladies, all the queens, they stopped, but they needed this space. So what they did is they took all the bangles out, and they kept only one bangle on their hand, and they again started rubbing this sandalwood. Yes, and this, as they started with just one bangle on their hand, the king felt a bit better, and he was in a comfortable position. So he again wondered, as you can see in the picture, that he is asking what has happened, how come the noise has stopped. So the queen is explaining to him that because we took all the bangles off and we are all wearing just one, so don't worry, we are still doing the best and you will soon feel better with. And they continued. Now, at this point, if it is me and you, what we'll do? Okay, I was not feeling good. I had the medicine, or the problem is solved, so we get on with our normal life again. But for Nami Raja, this was the beginning of his thinking process. He thought, okay, so it is just one bangle that didn't make noise, but when there were too many, as you can see in the picture, it made so much noise. So for him, this was the matter is not over, but for the name, this was the beginning for him. Yeah. So, and then, as you can see, he is in a deep thinking at the time. So, what do you think he was thinking? Can anybody please? Today, I want all of you to please participate, because this is one of the very, very important, but a very difficult one to understand this story. So I want everybody's participation, and all of us together, we will be able to understand it better. So I want everybody to participate. My question to you all What do you think he was thinking at that time? Everybody, please give me one sentence at least.
He was thinking that if only one Bengal is gone, why is the noise gone? So he was thinking that when he's alone there, the noise is less, or there is no noise. So really, should he be alone rather than in this whole kingdom where there are so many people?
Thank you very much, Rashmi Ben. That was a very good put it. Like, you know, you are very much near to what we are trying to get at. Anybody else, please? One more person, and we go ahead with the story. No? Urvi Ben, would you like to try? Urvi Ben?
I'm not really sure what it could have been.
Good. So let's find out then. It's going to be very interesting.
So Hinaben,
yes.
Alkaben is written on the chat. Having less is more peaceful.
Excellent. Very good. Okay. So he felt that multiplicity gave rise to unnecessary hustle and bustle, while peace lay in solitariness. Pondering over the matter, he realized that ultimately everyone has to leave the world alone. This made an unexpected impact on mind of Nami. So in that case, he thought, what is the real purpose of all these worldly connections? The king went into the deep thoughts. He thought, disturbances and noise take place only where there are two or more than two things at a place. When there is one, there is peace and quiet. A soul surrounded. So this is very important. Please try and understand. A soul surrounded by body, senses, mind, and a crowd of family members and other people is always in a disturbed state. However, if the soul renounces all this and becomes solitary and free of expectations, then there is peace and peace alone. Happiness and peace comes when one is completely absorbed in the self or soul. So with these thoughts, King experienced a unique calmness and fell asleep. The influence of thoughts extended to the body and he got cured. This sort of contemplation led him to the senses of detachment for everything. So this is the nimic, that this is why he wanted to live and he became Muni. Now, what do you think? Was his thinking correct? Do you ever think like this? And why? Can somebody, please? Can we ever think like this? If, you know, as I'm sure we all, sometime or the other, we do like feel uncomfortable. We are sick sometimes, and you know, then what do we think? What do you think? What is do you think his thinking was correct? Like, as we all heard, that he thought, okay, all these people around and everybody and my five senses plus mind, when all is around, is making lots of hustle and bustle, and that is why I should renounce. That is what he is trying to do. Do you think, do we ever think like this?
I don't.
You don't.
No.
Anybody else? Right. So we can think it differently. Right. I don't agree with it. We have not come to that stage yet. That is why we cannot think like that. Yes. But we in our day-to-day life, we have so many disturbances, isn't it? Like some negative thoughts we get all day long, and some irritative disturbances by some house members in the house, and we so many times that it stops us from being peaceful and joyful during our routine life. So what can we do? How can we just bring that peace back in our life? So what I do is you try and recognize our negative thoughts. Yes. And these thoughts are, you have to tell yourself, these thoughts are not mine. I am pure soul. This is my soul is very peaceful and it is very pure. These thoughts are due to all the things that is happening around us. So and it's not real me. If we keep on pondering over this, and then that is called ekatva bhav. Yes. So end of the day, every time we get irritated, we have negative thoughts, then if we can just tell ourselves that hold on, this is not me. I don't need to be angry. This is something that I still need to progress more on spiritual path. And the day you go, the more you go near to your soul, then you become more peaceful and more joyful. Yeah. And we think that if we start thinking like that for ourselves, then we can think like that for other people as well. Some people, if they get angry with us, then we can also think that he is angry because he is not in his Atma Bhav. As we cannot be, they cannot be. And that creates a bit of a peaceful situation. Yeah. So as you rightly said, we will not think like what he thought, but at least we can start somewhere. Yeah. And so now we go, I would like to talk about these reflections. As you all know, Bar Bhavna, and one of them, 12 reflections, and one of them is Ekatva Bhav, solitude of the soul. So under this Bhavna, what they are saying, what do we need to meditate is under this one thinks that the soul is solitaire and lonely in existence. The soul assumes birth alone and departs alone from this world. The soul is responsible for its own actions and karmas. The soul will enjoy the fruits and suffer the bad consequences of its own action alone. Such thoughts will stimulate his efforts to get rid of karmas by his own initiative and will lead religious life. See, there it says it all. So we can start somewhere. So by reflecting on Ekatva Bhav, one lives a life that would be beneficial to the soul. Yeah. So it's like I am one. I came alone into this world. I will depart alone. I know how to stand alone without addiction or prop. Apart from the hard, fearless, and strong in myself. So Chitrabhanuji has written this, and it is so beautiful what he is trying to say, that I have only to go into the depth of aloneness to know the meaning of all oneness. Everyone has come into the world to know this oneness, to build a bridge of communication with one another. So let me be aware of everyone as flame, as living light, including myself. So let me realize the magnificence of the potency of soul and become universal. Sri Chitrabhanuji explains in such a way. So it is like in one word, as I say, when we are out, although we are with other people, but we are within ourselves. If that's the way, if we start living, as they say that હંમેશા જ્ઞાતાદ્રષ્ટા ભાવમાં આપણે રહેશું તો આપણને ઓછું તકલીફ થશે અને આપણે ઓછા કર્મ બાઇન્ડ કરશું. So I am born alone, I'm going to die alone. So whatever karmas I'm going to bind, I only will have to suffer and bear the fruits. So then decide what you want, moksha marg or nark. Yeah. So, and there are lots of examples, as you know, that Valmiki Rishi, when he was also going robbing, and Muni asked him that go and ask your family, are they going to be part of your karma? And when they all say no, that is when he changes his mind and he becomes Valmiki Muni. Yeah. So now. No, and don't get this wrong, as we do not have to, it does not mean that we have to be selfish and self-centered and we must help other people in need. But at the same time, remember that I am the soul which is separate from everything. So one must help others as you need help too. Also, ekatva means to be with likewise people and progress on spiritual path. This is very important. Yeah. So this sort of contemplation led him to the sense of detachment for everything until we are ready to do this. What shall we do? So should we leave the sansar and take diksha just because we have all these negative thoughts? No, as we already discussed, if we try and sort of go onto that path, remember one thing, that whatever feelings I'm having is not me. There is something very, very special behind that, my pure soul. This, whatever I am getting is due to my karma, and this will lead us on to. So as you, focus is very, very important. Not live the mundane life, as if you become saint, still your thoughts, and also by being saint is not going to solve the problem. Sometimes you see the saints, but they still have negative thoughts and they cannot control their bad thoughts either. And then it is the same. If you live in sansar or you live and you live a muni life, it's all the same. So it is mainly to do with our thinking. It is not to do with we live in sansar or not live in sansar. So basically it is this reflection, ekatva bhav, that led him to leave the sansar, because he was on that very high level. We cannot even think what level he was at. So for us, of course, this is not possible, but at least we can start somewhere. That is. And so here he is leaving the sansar, and as you can see, of course, the family members are never going to be happy when you leave the sansar, but he had made up his mind. As I say, he was on that very high level, and he was so sure that he will be able to make it, and he already was there, realizing his soul anyway. Yeah. So this is how he leaves the sansar and he becomes Muni. But see what happens when he becomes Muni. He is meditating all the times. He is in sadhana. But as you can see, the next picture here is Indra Bhagwan. So Indra Bhagwan thought that it cannot be just out of one incident. How can he leave the sansar? It may not be possible. And this is a bit like, you know, you and me, when we go to somebody's funeral or somebody passes away for a few days, we always feel, we are always like that. Oh, what do I get end of the day if one has to go anyway? And we sort of, for a couple of days, we also feel that way. But again, we get back to our normal life. So something like that, Indra Bhagwan thought that it must be temporary. So let me just go and test him. So this Indra Bhagwan comes down and he is testing him, that is he in real, he wants to give up, or it is just temporary. And this temporary detachment is can be found. He's asking really interesting questions to find out. So let's go into the questions. What questions is he asking? And the first question he is asking, as you can see, Indra Bhagwan is asking him, why is now Mithila full of uproar? Dreadful noises are heard from places and houses. You are very kind. Please calm everything down and then accept the monkhood, means Diksha. So Indra Bhagwan is telling him, and he is like really trying to pursue him. Don't go, because there is so much of noise there and you need to calm your people down. So Nami Rajasi is replying very skillfully, just the tree where all the birds take shelter, if that falls down, naturally, they are all going to be miserable. Yeah, as you can see in the picture, there's that tree and all the birds take their refuge on the tree, they have their nest. Suddenly, if the tree falls down, they are all going to make noise. Yeah, so by this, he's trying to say that, this uproar is maybe temporary because I've just left, but people do eventually find their own destiny anyway. And this shouldn't stop me, because as you say, when you want to do something good, you have to make a move at one point. You cannot just wait, okay, this thing will happen and that thing will happen and then I will go. So it doesn't work that way. So he was very determined. Then Indra Bhagwan is asking him next question, which is very important. And Indra Bhagwan is asking him, O reverend sage, due to fire and air, your palace with its inner parts is burning. Why do you not even look at that? So what does he say? His answer is like, happy are we, happy live we who call nothing our own when Mithila is on fire. Nothing is one that belong to me. So, and so on. So basically, he's just trying to say, okay, that I have left now. I have nothing to do with Mithila, with the city. I am a Muni now. I have nothing to do with it. Now, can you imagine? What do you think? Do you think he was right in saying this? Can I have some reactions there, please? What do you think? Do you think he was right in saying that?
Is it not an act of selfishness?
Sorry?
Is it not an act of selfishness by saying that?
Yes, we would feel that way, isn't it? Definitely. Yes. But when as I say, he was on a very, very different level. He was on that high level that we cannot even speak like this, or we cannot even imagine. How do you expect a non-violent person who can speak like this? Yeah, only the person who have known and experienced himself separate from sansar, then only he can speak like this. So he was already on that level. And if you remember the story we saw of Prasan Chandra Rajarsi, he also felt the same way when he heard that some people were saying that his son was in trouble, and he sort of literally started fighting in his meditation, and then suddenly he realized that no, I am living a Muni life. So this, we are talking about those very high level people who have experienced that they are separate from sansar, and that's the only way they can speak like this. Yeah.
So Hinaben Sejalben has written on the chat.
Yes.
He is being true to himself.
He's being, sorry?
He's being true to himself.
Yes, that's right. So he himself realized it, that these things are never going to end. One thing or the other is always going to but eventually I am the one who has to realize my soul, and I am on that path. That is why he is talking like this. So he basically answered this question from that viewpoint of solitude of the soul, ekatva bhav. So he said, there is nothing there that belongs to me. I am living my life happily. I have left all asakti, so I have nothing to do with sansara. Meaning, when an ascetic has given up all the relations of son, wives, business, etc., there is no feeling of love or hatred for them towards anything. He has to live his life in equanimity all the time, no matter what happens. While living in solitude of the soul, they are very happy. So basically, the life he has chosen in living solitude of the soul, he believes that literally nothing belongs to him except his own soul. And that is why he is being like this. Yeah. I know it is a very difficult one. That is why I want everybody to participate in all the questions are like this, and they are difficult for you and me. Like, we are still in sansar, and our thoughts are like, we always think, oh no, if somebody is in trouble, we must go and help them first, and then do whatever we want to for our own soul. But these people, we are talking about those who are on a very high level, and they have realized, they have seen it. This sansar is nothing but never-ending thing. It's their, they have realized their soul, and that is why they answer like this. The next question was asked, like, he asked him that, O Kshatriya, first, as you all know, Kshatriya means the fighters. They, and all the kings are always Kshatriyas. They always fight. Yeah. So he is saying, O Kshatriya, first you secure your city against robbers, murdering dacoits, killers, thieves, and pickpockets and smugglers, and then only you get initiated. So what he is saying, men frequently apply punishment wrongly. The innocent are punished while the criminals cleanly escape, which is so true, isn't it? But so why did he answer like that? What did he mean by that? So it means that any sage should only restrain from the inner thieves. Kasai rupi aprekaine kasai rupi apraje enemies che. One has to fight only those, not the real burglars. And in any way, it is so difficult to pinpoint the right burglars nowadays anyway. And the other thing is, thieving is the act which is wrong, not that person. Yeah. So what they are doing is their lack of understanding. So one should have pity on those who are doing that, and if we can, we should try and change them. Acharya Channaji, I remember it very well. He said one time they went to this town, and that town was very popular for things like they will loot every single person who went into that town. But on top of that, when Acharyaji went there with some more sadhvijis and everybody, they went to the leader of that, and they said, can we stay overnight? And he said, yes, I have one room, you can stay. And they so, like, with so much love, they talked to them, and they said, yes, we would change now on. So it is possible that we can do that. The thieves are not thieves, not born thieves. We can change them. But of course, here Namirajasi, he said, I am going to just look after my soul, as the thieves of my soul are all those, the Kasais that he wanted to fight. Now, the next one was the construction of different mansions. So why is Indra Bhagwan asking him, O Kshatriya, build palaces, execute mansions and turrets or water palaces, that is Chandrasala, and then only get initiated. So Why is he saying that? Build all this for your children, grandchildren, and so on. Does work ever end? Never. We, when we are doing one thing, we always are like, I will finish this job and then I will go on to another one. So that when you finish this, another 10 are ready to be finished. When you finish those 10, another 20 are ready, and so on and on. So the work never gets finished. In the same way, our thinking is like, I will earn this much money for my children, and then for my grandchildren, and then when my children finish studying, I will do the dharma, and then when they get married, then I will do the dharma, and it's on and on and on. It's never we can, like, when we want to do it, we really have to do it. Because one example, sometimes some people think, okay, I will do dharma when my children grow up a bit. They grow up, okay, when they finish their study. When they finish their studying, okay, when they get married. Okay, when they get married, they have children, I will help them to bring those children up, and then I will go into it. And like this, it goes on and on. So by the time you come to it, we are so old, our mind does not, our senses are not as powerful. That is why they say, if you want to do dharma, dharma is not easy to do. One must do it when their senses are strong enough, when they are powerful. So never sort of leave it until you think when you are old, because that time never comes. That you can never say, okay, now I have time to do dharma. If you want to do it, it's like in Gujarati we say, Jagyati Savar. So when you realize it, in the same way Nami Raja must have thought, I'm just guessing that, okay, I have realized this now, and I must just press on and go. And that is why and Acharya Channaji is the same. When she wants to do something, she just does it there and then. She never thinks, oh, I will do it after this is over, that is over. No, she is very determined in what she wants to do. Yeah. And also the other reason why he is saying that what is the point in building anything where we have to live temporarily? Why should I build all this? Nami Raja is saying, keep on building all the temporary lodgings for what? Because he was after building something where he was going to stay forever. He was working towards that. He wanted to go to mocks, and that is why he wanted to build his permanent house, permanent residence. And he said, I have full confidence in myself that I am going to reach my target and will make permanent place there. Thus, Mox is the only place where I want to build my permanent residence. And that is why he refused to do so. Then the next one is, he's saying that, O king, first conquer the rulers who have still not submitted to you, and then get initiated. So that's like, there were some that they were always fighting him, and Indra Bhagwan is saying that, why don't you win them all and then go, so that at least your children and your grandchildren will have safe life. And but so his answer is, what is the point of winning outside enemies? Again, the same answer. You will not achieve permanent happiness by that anyway. He thought, if I conquer these kings now, there will be more and more and more. So how many am I going to conquer? Why should I waste my life like that? So if one wins over 5 senses, all the kasais and man is the winner, and that will give permanent happiness. Therefore, I am active towards winning the soul rather than these outsiders. Yeah. So again, he's only after purifying his soul. Then again, Indra Bhagwan is asking him, O Kshatriya, multiply your gold and silver, your jewels and pearls, your copper, fine rods and carriages, and your treasury, and then only you get initiated. Now, this is something like, how we have our life, isn't it? It's never enough. How much we earn, how much we work, it's never enough. Yeah. So it is like collect all the things he's saying, and then well, when do we feel that it's enough? Like, and it is so nicely written in here. It says, Ichau agasa sama arantiya. Agasa sama means the sky. Icha, our desires are like the sky. They never end. But when he has satisfaction, abandonment, and abstinence in his soul, then only they will end. And one can achieve that by peace. So it's again like last week's story. I had that picture that, our desires are like sky. It never stops. So what's the point in him staying in samsara and earning more and more when it's never going to end? Yeah. So he's again refusing Indra Bhagwan to do what Indra Bhagwan is asking him to do. So then Indra Bhagwan is again trying something different. He's saying, "O Lord of the land, you give up those wonderful pleasures in search of imaginary objects. Your very hope will cause your ruin." Beautifully, he's saying that, moksha, but have we seen it? Is there a moksha? We haven't seen it. So Indra Bhagwan is asking that you already have your kingdom. You are living such a luxurious life. Now you want to leave all this when you are so comfortable, and you want to go whereby you don't even know how comfortable you are going to be. Does that even exist? So Indra Bhagwan is trying to ask him, but see what he has to say. For those who wants to achieve moksha, either seen or not seen, both pleasures are like thorns for them. Poison and poisonous make its life. In samsara, that is why he is saying that I have already seen what samsara is like. It is full of poison and like thorns, which I have already felt it. So why do I wait? I know that although I have not seen moksha yet, but I have already experienced and seen the thorns of samsara. That is why I am confident that being in samsara, I will not be able to achieve my goal. So I must leave, I must go, I must not wait and waste my time anymore. Now, only this sort of words, only those people can use who have really seen and experienced that very high level of soul. Yeah. Again, Indra Bhagwan is asking him, renouncing the most difficult life order, which is life as a householder, you wish to enter another life order. Yeah, that is ascetic life, which is not proper for you. Remain a householder and observe the partial ascetic vow. આપણે કહીએ ને કે stay in samsara, સંસારમાં રહીને પૌષધ ને બધું, like we can follow so much dharma by even staying in samsara. Why do you want to leave? Why do you want to leave that one? So and this is more like from in Hinduism, there are 4 ashrams, that Grihashram, Brahmacharya ashram, Vanprasthana ashram, and Sannyas ashram. And out of this, they also think that Grihashram is the hardest, is the life that you and me are living. Because everybody depends on us. In Grihashram, one has to look after the house, wife, children, all the duties, where all the sannyas ashram. So by being sannyasi, it is so much easier because then you don't have any duties. Yes. So they call sannyas ashram to live in samsara is very difficult. But here, what is Namiraja is saying? Anyone such job is difficult. That does not mean that it is the best. For example, person fasting for month after months, and for the Parna taking only a little amount of food that can stay on the sharp end of the needle. An example, those who perform very severe penances like walking in the fire, sleeping on the thorny beds and all that are not even 16th part of the restrained life. So Namiraja is saying that all this is possible, but to live a restrained life is the only answer to get to moksha. Temporary, if we do some tap here and there, is not the answer to achieve moksha. And that is why he would like to take Diksha and he would like to go. Now, by all this, listening to all his answers, Indra Bhagwan is getting really pleased with him. And he started saying, he threw off his guise of Brahmin, like he came in the Brahmin vase. So he threw that off and making visible of his true self, the king of gods saluted him respectfully and praised him with sweet and illustrious words like, "O brow, you have conquered anger, defeat, conceit, wiped off deceit, and subjugated grief. Your simplicity is commendable, and so is your humbleness. Your forgiveness is lofty, and so is your freedom from attachment." And then he's saying, "Here are the you are the highest man, Reverend Sir, and hereafter you will be the highest, exempt from all blemishes. You will reach perfection, the highest state than which there is none in this world." So thus Lord Indra paid reverence to him again and again. Even after having adored by Indra, Namiraja remained steadfast in his ascetic state. So now Indra Bhagwan is saying all this, but from what? None of the efforts of Indra had made any impact on Namiraja, who said that he would gladly continue the life of lonely monk instead of resorting to the momentary pleasures of the worldly life. So Indra then, of course, he realized, but from what he is saying, like Namiraja had forgiveness over growth. From which question do you think Indra thought? So, from example, he asked to win all the other countries as they did not respect him. So from there, Indra Bhagwan thought that here he is so ready to forgive, even though if other people have anger with him. In the same way, he had this humbleness towards the ego. As when he answered, when he was asked that Mithila was on the fire at that time, he didn't think of that ahankar or ego that only I can save Mithila. Because he knew there are other people who can do it. If it was somebody else, then he would go. But no, he said, so he was so humble in even saying that it doesn't have to be me. And then there was he had honesty instead of deceit. He got from when he was asked to get rid of the thieves from the town, and Nami said simplicity without any revenge, he denied to do that. Yeah, so he was very honest, and his simplicity, it showed his simplicity there. And then greed, instead of love, he was content. His contentment showed when Indra asked him to increase all the gold, silver, and so on. He denied even those. Yeah. So thus he congratulated Nami for his sense of detachment, and bowing him went back to his place. So and Nami continued. Thus, by taking talking about the, and also this whole story is told by Lord Mahavir in his last sermon of Uttaradhyana Sutra to Gautam Swami. Now imagine that how great our Mahavir Bhagwan was, that he also talked about some munis like Nami Raja. He never thought that only he can talk about himself. He talked about this, some really super people as well. And that shows the greatness of our Lord Bhagwan Mahavir. Yeah. And so after that, it is the, I almost finished. There were a couple of other questions were asked, but I thought due to the time, we will not go into it. But they were very much similar to the ones that we have discussed. So here I have just prepared a short summary. Oh, I thought this whole chapter is giving us so much, so many different aspects, so many different points to think about. So in summary, I could write and write, but I've just taken a few points which I thought was good to discuss. Like ascetic do not separate the worldly life in pleasant and unpleasant, but they have joy in giving up worldly happiness and abandon the passions and the attachment. Yeah. And then Acharyaji Channaji has also written a very good commentary on this Uttaradhyana Sutra. And her commentary, she has written such. Of course, it is in Hindi, so I have tried to bring it here. As she has written, when there is too much, there is conflict, grief, and pain. Where there is one, there is total peace. Where there is crowd of body, senses, mind, on top of that money, family, there is grief. Where there is only soul consciousness, that is Atma Bhav, there is no grief. Yeah. And oh, some more I had read. The real victory is not by winning outside enemies, but one's own inside enemies, that Kasais. Then unwavering faith in religion, as Nami Raja had, and that's what really made him progress. Then calm reactions by Nami Rajasi. No matter how many different ways Indra Bhagwan asked him, but he was calm all the time. And the very important that ekatva bhav, yeah, solitariness of the soul, that is the one that is, I think, very good to think about. Also, you know, we can also look at it this way, that Brahminic or Vedic tradition is the special feature of this chapter is that Lord Indra represents the Brahminic or Vedic tradition. Because if you look at all his questions and inspirations are empowered by Vedic beliefs, whereas, like, you know, because he's saying do the yagna, do this, do that, but whereas Nami represents Shraman tradition, his answers are drenched in spirituality, while Indra is making efforts to push him towards the worldly life. The chapter conveys the message of spiritualism and renouncing the worldly affairs. Although such thing is not possible in our lives, that one becomes sick and renounce the world, but at least if we develop our true faith in what he is conveying to us, then we probably may not fly like him in the sky, but at least we can try and walk on the earth, unlike those insects who are wandering around under the ground. So his answers are all from Nishchay point of view, whereas Indra Bhagwan is talking from external point of view, that is Vyavarnai. That's what I feel that this chapter is about. So Dharma is the only shelter. Also in Gita Ji on 18, in chapter number 18, they talk about Sattvic Gyan, which is very much similar. But of course, we won't all go into that. And here I would like to end my talk. And as I said, it is because from Uttaradhyana Sutra, I would just like to say, Javaindam Vachamelium Hinakaram Atikaram Parahinam Vinahinam Joginam Osinam Suttudinam duttu padiciyam akale sajao kalena to sajao sajai sajayam sajayena sajayam tasamichami dukram. So I would like to end my talk here. Thank you all. And if you have any question, please unmute yourself and you can ask. These are some of the questions that I have not taken, but is there any questions? Share.
I'm not sure if there are any questions, but I think Sejal Ben also made some good points on the chat while you were talking as well. So I don't know if Sejal Ben, you're able to turn your camera on and unmute and just talk through some of the points that were so real and so pertinent to what you were talking about, but only if you want to.
Sorry, my son is with me.
Don't worry.
He didn't go to sleep. Yeah, it just struck me as you were going through, Hinaben.
Yes.
That Lord Indra was saying he was challenging on all these different aspects. But in the same way, you could take everything he was saying from the spiritual perspective. So he was talking about, why don't you build up your treasury and get all the jewels and make sure you're properly allowing for, get everything together. But then you can think of it from the the jewels of Samyak Darshan, and it's like what perspective you see what he was saying from.
So I'm not quite clear what you are trying to say, but the jewels and everything, Indra Bhagwan was like talking about the real jewels, like very.
Yeah, he was talking about the worldly jewels, but you could also consider it,
the
perspective of the jewels of Samyak Darshan.
Yes.
So which are the jewels that are worth going for?
Yes, correct. So rightly, yes, your thinking is so true. So like that is how he was thinking, that no, this, like, all this monetary value does not mean anything. I must just go after what I need to do to purify my soul. Yes, very good input. Yes, thank you. I don't know, somehow or the other I've lost my camera, but
we can see you, don't worry.
Oh, you can see me. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Sejal Ben. There's really some good points as well.
Yes, Sejal Ben, that's really
You're
good.
very
really
welcome.
Yeah.
And thank you for the stories. It refreshed them in my memory and brought back some ideas. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I think that's it. Hinaben, do you want to just close with the Manglik, and then we'll finish for the evening? Yeah.
Yes. So I thank you all for listening to me. If I have said anything wrong, I again say Michami Dukkaram. So close your eyes softly and we say Chattari Mangalam Arihanta Mangalam Siddha Mangalam Sahu Mangalam Kevali Panato Tammo Mangalam Chattari Lokutama Arihanta Lokutama Siddha Gutama, Sahulo Gutama, Kevali Panato Tamo Logutamo, Chattari Sharanam Pavachami, Arahante Sharanam Pavachami, Site Sharanam Pavachami, Sahu Sharanam Pavachami, Kevali Panatam Dhammam Sharanam Pavachami, Pavachami. Thank you, everybody. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, Hinaben, and Jai Jinendra to everyone. We'll see you all same time, same place next week. The login details are exactly the same for next week as well, and every week for this term. Thank you, Jai Jinendra, and good night.